Welcome to John Martin Talks, where we battle ignorance and apathy daily. The growing ignorance of just how special this experiment we call the United States of America is, and the apathy that we can't or won't do anything and everything to save her. Well, ladies and gentlemen, in case you're new to the show, and we always have new listeners, I mean, the numbers are growing daily, and we really appreciate it. And you're looking at me, or maybe you're new in this last couple of days or couple of shows, you'll say, that guy's getting redder by the minute. Well, that's because I went fishing again this weekend, and I'm out there in the sun. So don't worry about me. I don't need a nurse. I already got one. I'm married to her. And I will have a fishing report for you within the next couple of days. But it was very interesting, and I can't wait to show you a picture of, I don't have any at the moment, they're being processed, of this gigantic grouper that I caught over the weekend. So I'm getting redder, but soon I'll be getting browner. And I don't need a nurse. I already got one. All right, word of the day, ladies and gentlemen. Let's get right to it. I chose the word sanctuary. And the definition I picked is a place of refuge and safety. There was a secondary definition talking about like a church, a place where you feel spiritually at home and all of that. So that could actually go in here as well. But sanctuary, a place of refuge or safety. This next story comes to you from Newsweek, and my little subtitle is Trump Finds Sanctuary in the White House. Pelosi says Trump knows he shouldn't be president. That according to her story in Newsweek. So apparently she was on 60 Minutes. I have to admit that I watched some tapes of it. I did not watch the whole show. But I got a couple of stories that are coming out of her 60-minute interview. And this first one, as I say, is published by Newsweek. And it insinuates that President Trump realizes above all else that the last place he should be is in the White House. Speaker of the House Nancy Pelosi didn't hold back during an interview with 60 Minutes regarding her opinions on the capabilities of President Donald Trump. So they're like, hold back. When is the last time this chick held back, man? I mean, that shit held back. I can see her husband go, now hold back there, girl. You know, I ain't ready for that tonight. But I can't see this plastic face gal ever holding back, man. She won't turn loose of, you know, if she was a typical American, she'd be working, and I don't mean this in any disgrace, but she's like one of these punch-drunk boxers that can't give it up, man. You know, they got to keep fighting in the ring. She's coming to a Walmart greeting somewhere. There's no doubt. And I mean no disrespect to Walmart greeters, but you know, if you got the money and the time, go fishing or do something. Don't sit there and wait. You know, to me, the people that do that, they're either got no money or they're bored out of their mind and they don't have enough money to go somewhere else. But this gal, hold back. I mean, my God, the last thing she's ever done is hold back. She goes on to say, I think there's nobody in the country who knows better than he, talking about the president, that he should not be president of the United States than Donald Trump, Pelosi said. Excuse me, but let me think about this a minute. So she's saying that President Trump should know better than anybody that he doesn't deserve to be in the White House. But Jay, you hear Jay's voice in the back. He's my producer, and this is Billy Bob Bass, by the way. If you're new to the show, he keeps me psychically connected, so to speak. Keeps me on tune. But I asked him and Jay earlier. I'll ask him now. Maybe I'm wrong, but didn't Donald Trump like do something to get to the White House? Didn't he? I mean, didn't he like win? I mean, he won, did he not? I mean, I realize to you snowflakes out there that that's the worst crime in the history of the presidency. He won, but I think the funny thing happened on the road to Damascus, Nancy. Donald Trump outworked your gal, your president of California, Hillary Rodham Clinton, and became president of the United States. So he knows he doesn't deserve to be here. Now, keep this in mind. This is the guy that literally campaigned to the last possible moment. He literally held a rally, you may remember, in Michigan at like 1 o'clock in the morning on election day, because it was after midnight, right? So it was election day. This guy worked harder than anybody I have ever seen to become president, but he knows better than most that he shouldn't be there. I mean, it's wow. You talk about something crazy, man. But on 60 Minutes, journalist Leslie Stahl then asked Pelosi thought that Trump was aware that he should not be president. Is he aware? Now think about this, man. What the audacity of hope, so to speak. Ask a question like that, man. Can you imagine President Trump ever being, President Obama ever having a question? Anybody asking, does he realize he should never be president? And hey, one thing I've said before, but if I say it, it bears repeating. You'll never hear me, that's not my president. I didn't vote for Obama, at least on the second time. I'll tell you the truth, and I've said it before. I used to be a Democrat. I voted for Obama, and boy, was I disappointed. But I absolutely did not vote for him the second time around, that's for sure. And to me, he was still my president. And get it over, Donald Trump. Yes, if you woke up this morning on the right side of the dirt, Donald Trump is still your president. But can you imagine even asking someone, does President Obama realize he shouldn't have been president? I mean, really and truly, Obama was the least qualified person by the book to have ever really ascended to the White House. I don't think there's really any doubt about that. I'm not even really being critical of him. I know some people will go, all this and that, and it'll be racist and everything.
Racist bigot.
Yeah, racist bigot, man. Captain Whitebread is a racist bigot. My whole family would tell you that. Might be slightly different, but anyway, but think about it. In reality, Obama ran for office, was a state senator, right? In Illinois, voted like president, meaning, yeah, I'm here, but I'm not going to take a position on anything, like 130 times. Then he basically backed into being a senator when the Democratic senator, I can't remember her name now, had to resign in disgrace for corruption, so it opened up a vacancy. He only ran against Keyes, the other, the black commentator that's a very conservative guy, Alan Keyes. I hadn't heard much from him in a while. Don't know what he's up to these days, but I actually kind of like the dude. But he basically jumped in and ran against Obama. So Obama was literally given a U.S. Senate seat. Of course, he was created to a certain extent nationally by the Clintons. I'm sure they rue that day by giving him a keynote address at the convention, the Democratic National Convention. And then Obama became senator, and he was basically a U.S. senator for like long enough to have breakfast with what's the guy from Illinois? I'm trying to think of, Jay, help me out on this. Farrakhan. Yeah, Billy Bob helped me. Louis Farrakhan. Obama was in the Senate long enough to have breakfast with him, although the picture didn't come out till after he was out of the White House, held by a reporter in secret because they were looking out for the American people. But Obama, so to sum it up, Obama basically has never had a job. He's like a social activist or whatever, an organizer. He gets into a Illinois Senate seat, votes president 130 some odd times, backs into a U.S. Senate seat with the gift of the Clintons. And then he's there long enough to have breakfast with Louis Farrakhan, and the next thing you know, he's running for White House and he's the president. I mean, this guy was when it comes to qualifications, he literally had almost none. Now, I will give Obama credit. Some of you out there aren't going to like when I say this. I actually think Obama became president by the way he campaigned. He was a fabulous campaigner. He was a great speech orator. I don't know if he wrote his own speeches. Doesn't really matter.
Great panderer.
And great pander, but he was a very effective campaigner, and he won the presidency. In no small part because he was up against a couple of yahoos in both Romney and then before that McCain. The King Swamp Rat who's still alive, and God rest his soul, the greatest senator of the Democratic Party's ever had in John McCain. But anyway, Obama was president, right? But you can imagine anyone asking a question of one of his supporters, does Obama realize he shouldn't have been president? I'm rambling a bit, but it irritates me to say the least. All right, we're going to move on. But Pelosi's response to that is, I think he does, yeah. But I respect the office he holds, and he's not worth the trouble of saying you're so horrible we can't work together. No, we need to work together. Working together? This gal here, she basically tells it that he is an idiot, calls him everything but a child of God. But yeah, we need to work together. Like she's worked with him in the past at all. The past 2 years have been nothing but obstruction from the Democratic Party, led in part, a large part, by Pelosi. And now she is actually the Speaker of the House, and she can't even get her own group together. More on that in a little bit. But working together, really? You really think she wants to work with the president? I don't think so. Working together was a frequent call. This is according to the article from Pelosi during the interview in 60 Minutes, including among members of her own party. Yeah, I bet it was. Work together. We got to work together, right? You're contending with a group in Congress over here on the left flank. This is what Leslie Stahl said. And these self-described socialists this is what, I'm sorry, let me back up. I misquoted this. This is what Nancy Pelosi said. You're contending with a group in Congress over here on the left flank and these self-described socialists on the right, these moderates. Really? Really? Self-described socialists. They're not self-described. They are socialists. They just are. They admit. And as far as moderates, well, we know about centrists and moderates, I do believe. Comrade de Blasio, the great mayor of New York, I say that in pun, the great city of New York that has a lousy mayor, by the way. I think we might have a soundbite of him talking about the room for centrists or moderates in the current Democratic Party.
By the way, when it comes to the 2020 Democratic nomination process, centrists need not apply.
You're persona non grata. Where are the moderates? There may be moderates in the Democratic Party, but none of them are holding office, I can tell you that. But Stahl asked, she said, and you yourself said that you're the only one, talking about Pelosi, who can unify everybody. And the question is, can you? So Pelosi, she's the great unifier, right? I mean, that's like a new superhero. I'm here to unify you. And can you imagine Pelosi coming in? The one thing if Pelosi like peeks her head around the corner, the first thing people aren't thinking is unify. It's like, get the hell, run! You know, I mean, good Lord, the unifier, man. She might be the unibomber, I don't know. But by and large, whatever orientation they come to Congress with, this is what Nancy actually, she actually is deranged enough to probably believe this. She says, by and large, whatever orientation they, talking about these newly elected congressmen and women, come to Congress with, they know that we have to hold the center and that we have to go down the mainstream. Hold the center. Then when you think of politics and Pelosi, do you think, oh, there's a centrist moderate? I wish she was. I actually wish she was, so maybe she would need not apply, like Comrade de Blasio say. But what stream, what river are we talking about of consciousness these people are on? If anything, it must be the stream of denial. I mean, because think about this. Is it the stream that's moderate, mainstream? Now, this is the mainstream they want you to believe, like keeping the baby comfortable. Do we have that clip? We're going to play this clip.
I can tell you exactly what would happen. The infant would be delivered. The infant would be kept comfortable. The infant would be resuscitated if that's what the mother and the family desired. And then a discussion would ensue between the physicians and the mother.
That right there, man, is moderate. That's the moderates talking about keeping the baby comfortable and then cutting his throat after a little bit of a discussion. I think the president actually could sum this up better than me. And
the Democrats have to now decide whether they will continue defrauding the public with ridiculous bullshit.
I mean, to think that statement from Governor Northam of Virginia, which was celebrated by the mainstream media and the Democrats, that's somehow moderate. I mean, think about that. That is how far left these progressives have gone in the Democratic Party, which is basically those that are running. That they actually think making the baby comfortable, you know, and resuscitating it if necessary before you kill it again is a moderate term. I mean, good Lord, man. But somebody, and here's something else. How about this for moderate? Somebody did something. I mean, we're going to talk about that more in a minute, but
CARE was founded after 9/11 because they recognized that some people did something. So to me, I say raise hell.
Raise hell, give it hell. Now that sounds like moderate. Somebody somewhere did something. I don't know, a couple of little old buildings. There was a couple of little old shacks that burned up and fell down. Nothing to see here. I mean, that's moderate. That's middle of the road.
Damn right, deplorables. Raise hell. Let's go.
And think about this. There's one word that I could say here. I got to build up the right momentum for it, because you know me, I'm very calm, very collective. But the only word that comes to mind about moderate is Russia, 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 Russia. I mean, say everywhere you see Russia, Russia, Russia. So this river, this stream of mainstream she's talking about is I'd say the stream of denial, because you got to keep the baby comfortable. Somebody did something somewhere. A couple buildings, you know, they fit, nothing to see here. And Russia everywhere. But I guess what we're really going to have to find out is, can these jackasses actually swim? Can a little burrow packed with a bunch of bullshit actually swim? Because there's the Green New Deal out there somewhere, right? And that's why I said, if you're just tuning in, you may not have heard this, but I've labeled everyone running for 2020 as jackasses on jackasses. Because the first question that be at the first Democratic debate should be, how many of you, by show of hands, signed up for the Green New Deal? And once they all raise their hand, which all of them have so far, then the next question would be, how'd you get here? Did you ride on the back of a billy goat or a jackass? Because you better not have even ridden a bike unless it's made of wood, let alone came by plane, train, or automobile. I mean, so do you wonder if these jackasses can swim in this river of denial that they're in? Back to the article. The Congresswoman later shrugged off assertions that the Democratic Party is fractured due to progressive voices like New York Representative Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez and a group that Pelosi said was like 5 people. So she basically says that Ocasio-Cortez and Ilhan Omar and Tel Aviv or whatever her name is, oh, they're just like 5 people. It ain't that big a deal, man. Let me tell you right now. The Democratic Party is fractured, it says here, due to progressive voices. They're not really fractured. Now, they're having a power struggle, no doubt, because Pelosi wants to be the woman in charge, and she is pissed that Ocasio-Cortez has basically become the face of the Democratic Party, and to a certain extent, this Omar chick as well. That's what she's pissed at. But they're not fractured. They are all progressives. It's not like there's a moderate wing of the Democratic Party like this article is asserting. There used to be. I used to actually be a member of it. But that party is gone. The party of JFK, you know, asking not what you can do for your country, or ask not what your country can do for you, but what you can do for your country. That party is dead. It's now the party of somebody did something somewhere. I mean, that's basically, I couldn't sum up the Democratic Party any better than Ilhan Omar. But Nancy says, oh, that's just like 5 people. In other words, she's really saying, peace be with you. Seek sanctuary, because hell is coming, baby. She ain't going to go out quietly, I can tell you, but they're trying to push her out the door. To illustrate the divide between members of the party, Leslie Stahl of 60 Minutes, cited calls from progressives for Medicare for all. Medicare for all. It's not only being pushed by some members of your caucus, Stahl said, but also some of the candidates, some of the presidential candidates, and is allowing president to say you're all socialists. So it's allowing President Trump to say they're all socialists? He's just saying, hey, there's a bunch of socialists over there. I mean, it's not that he's saying they're all socialists. They are all socialists. I mean, President Trump is the only one willing to stand up and say, you know, that dude has no clothes on. The emperor has no clothes. He's basically calling them what they are. And let me just let you in on this, ladies and gentlemen. If you haven't realize this by now, this term Medicare for all, if you're on Medicare right now, let me just tell you, what Medicare for all really means is Medicare for none. Because if your Medicare goes to become Medicare for all, you won't have it anymore. And you better wake up, you better get woke right quick like, or you're going to be out. Do you know, back to the article here, this is says here that this is Nancy Pelosi talking. Do you know that when we did Medicare, when Medicare was done by Congress at the time under Lyndon Johnson, Ronald Reagan said Medicare will lead us to a socialist dictatorship. And I would just ask Nancy, so what's your point? I mean, are you trying to say that Reagan was wrong? I think it's right. I mean, Reagan was absolutely, like on many things, if not most things, he was absolutely right. And he was, if anything, he's Nostradamus because he's predicting the future. Does anybody truly out there believe this? Let me ask you a question. Is there anyone in my audience? I'd love to hear from. By the way, I enjoy your comments. Please, keep making them, and we respond to them as timely manner as we possibly can. But I really appreciate your interaction with us, and we're trying to figure out more ways to increase that. But let me ask you out there, regardless on what side of the aisle, if you want to be your own, what your political persuasion, whether you love Trump, hate Trump, somewhere in the middle. Can anyone actually, I know Snowflake's going to have a hard time with this because they don't even know who Ronald Reagan basically is other than dead Republican, which makes him probably good. But has the country gone more to the left or more to the right since Reagan's time? Since this socialist stuff, Medicare for all this stuff's come. I mean, just the mere fact that you got just look at the platform of the 2020 candidates. And tell me that we haven't been moving towards socialism, progressivism, and in a way dictatorship, because they want to tell you what kind of hat you can wear now, right? But think about this. Here's an example, okay, and it's just crazy. You got butt edge. I'm hard with these names. But Butt-Get, I think is how you say his name, from South Bend, Indiana. He just formally, even though he's been running for like 2 months, he formally announced his campaign for presidency apparently over the weekend. And he had the audacity to criticize Christian people of the Christian faith, say, that people who support Donald Trump aren't good Christians because he's had marital affairs in the past. And I'm like, but this dude is married to a man, okay? Which hey, more power to you. I'm just saying, come on, man. You're talking about Christianity, and he makes the case basically that he's a better Christian than Donald Trump because Donald Trump was, fooling around. He was a billionaire playboy that we're like so surprised and shocked to find out who Donald Trump really is. Like we didn't know. But this dude who's married to a guy named Chasen Butt-Gig, I guess his name is Chasten. I messed that up a bit. But, and I'm not being critical of it, but to me, the audacity, if you want to just sit up there and criticize someone's faith while you're claiming to be a Christian married to a man. I mean, wow. Anyway. But this, back to Pelosi's words here. She says, this is an ongoing theme of the Republicans, Pelosi said, before adding that she rejects socialism as an economic system. She rejects it. Pelosi rejects it. This is a theme of the Republicans. No, Nancy, I hate to tell you. I'm trying to help you. I know you're getting a bit like, out there. She's getting squirrely. But it's a theme of the Democratic candidates for 2020 presidential nomination. That's the theme. It's the ongoing theme of your party. They're literally running on, they're bragging about it and trying to find out who is the biggest socialist. Keep in mind that the elections we just had in Chicago for mayor, go back, Google it, but remember, Google is of the devil, and look at the two women who ultimately were running for mayor of Chicago. Their debates were not about who was going to be able to be the strongest mayor of Chicago, but who was going to be the most hardcore leftist. They were trying to out-left each other. The only time I've seen people turn left harder than those two gals was at a NASCAR race. And that's all they do is turn left. So it's just crazy, man. But Pelosi goes on to say, if people have that view, that's their view, it's not the view of the Democratic Party. In other words, the Democratic Party is not socialist. They're capitalist. I mean, really, man, you need, Nancy, if you truly believe this, and you probably do, you need sanctuary in the form of help. You need some kind of help, or at least a rock to crawl back under, because you apparently have not been paying attention to your own party, the party you claim to be the leader of. No wonder they're trying to get rid of her. Later in the interview, the California Democrat said that she feels, that's all you really, a California Democrat. If you're a Democrat elected in California, how far left must you be? Later in the interview, the California Democrat said that she feels the country is strong enough to survive Trump's term as president. Well, Nancy, what about the second term? You don't, can you survive that one? Because it's coming, baby. It's coming. coming, man.
Trump train's coming. Choo-choo.
Whoop. So she says, I think our future is strong enough, it built on a strong foundation to withstand everything, including the current occupant of the White House. I don't think for 2 terms, though, she said, so she's not planning on 2. Well, let me tell you, there's a little song out there. Now, they're Canadians, but I like them a lot. Billy Bob and I are big fans of Bachman Turner Overdrive. I think we got a song that is a message for you, Nancy, if you're thinking you're going to get rid of the Trumpster.
She looked at me with the big red eyes. I said, "You wasted nothing yet." But baby, you just ain't seen nothing yet. It's something that you're never gonna forget.
You ain't seen nothing yet, baby. Can you imagine the tears that these snowflakes, man, are going to do? The melting that's going to happen when Trump actually becomes president. Can you say Canada, anyone? Are you going to need sanctuary? And I know we got Canadian listeners, so I'm not wishing that on you, but there are going to be people literally running for Canada when Trump comes back.
Look what you've done! I'm melting!
That'll be that one. You mean they'll be screaming at the trees and everything. I always think about the ones up there in like North Carolina that were out there and they were going through. You may not remember this, but a forest had been cut down and they were out there. We're out here today to just cry for the lost trees. And I picture myself, every time I hear that, man, I picture myself walking with a shotgun going, "You're scaring the squirrels." Shut up, man. You're scaring the squirrels. But so anyway, we got more of this interview. This interview with Nancy Pelosi on 60 Minutes, I guess, was so over the top that it produced multiple stories. So we're going to move on to the next one. And this is coming to you from Bloomberg. And my little subtitle, "Was it something I said? Somebody might need sanctuary somewhere." Pelosi asked for extra security for Ilhan Omar after a Trump tweet. So he tweeted, oh my God. House Speaker Nancy Pelosi said Sunday that she'd asked the U.S. Capitol Police to provide more protection for Representative Ilhan Omar after Donald Trump tweeted a video of the lawmaker, in other words, what she actually said, intercut with images of September 11th terror attacks. So I asked Nancy, hey, why not just call Hamas? Why not just call? Yeah, I mean, if Ilhan needs extra protection, she could just call on her terrorist buddies. After all, she's one of them. And I know this probably get me banned if they hear we get big enough. This will get me banned. But let me just tell you, Ilhan Omar, make no mistake about it, is a terrorist. Because if it walks like a duck, quacks like a duck, it's a duck, right? This gal supports Hamas, a terrorist organization. She raises money for Hamas, a terrorist organization. She's at this event that is being played at a fundraiser for CARE. CARE was founded by Hamas, a known terrorist organization. You don't have to take my word for it. Look it up. It is the hardwood truth, but hey, I feel free. Look it up. Check it out. Sure, we can play that video.
CARE was founded after 9/11
by Hamas
because they recognized that some people did something and that all of us were starting to lose access to our civil liberties.
Somebody did. You know who that somebody was? It was jihadist terrorists. That's who they were. Somebody did something. I'm sorry somebody did something to you, boy. I'm sorry you lost your mom and your daddy and the towers that fell down, or the plane that crashed in Pennsylvania. Thank God for our patriots that took that down. Or you lost someone in Washington, D.C. at the Pentagon. Don't fret, young man. It was just somebody doing something. I mean, it just would. I could see her saying it like Andy Griffin. It was just somebody doing something, Opie. I mean, these people, man, and the people that vote for them, wow. But anyway, so why not ask Hamas? Let me finish on this. She is a terrorist. She supports a terrorist. They support her. She raises money for them. They give money to her. What would be the definition of a terrorist if not her? I don't know what it would be. You might as well get rid of that definition if it's not her. The president's words, this is what Nancy Pelosi said in her 60 Minutes interview. The president's words weigh a ton, and his hateful and inflammatory rhetoric creates a real danger. like that video doesn't, right? So, and in that video, we don't have to play it again, but she also says, go check it out. She says that they're second-class citizens, that she has felt like, she says something like a lot of you, I'm felt like a second-class citizen, and I'm tired of it. I'm tired of it. Let me just say, can you say the word hijab? That's what she's wearing. She got permission to wear one in Congress. First of all, she got elected. I don't know how many second-class citizens actually get elected. You know, second-hand maybe, but second-class, no. They got elected. She chooses to wear the hijab, which by its very nature makes you a second-class citizen, because you are saying that you're subjugating yourself second-class to all the men in the Muslim faith. That's what the hijab represents. If you don't believe it, go back and look at my interview with Miss Cyrus. I'm trying to think of her first name right now. Annie Cyrus. Thank you, Jay. Annie Cyrus. I did an interview a couple of months ago with her. Go back to my YouTube channel, John Martin Talks. Go directly to my Facebook page, John Martin Talks. Like it and share it, by the way. I appreciate it. We're about to cross over to 10,000 followers. Need a little more help to get there. It's a big number, and we appreciate it. But go back and check out my interview with Annie Cyrus. Annie Cyrus was a forced child bride, basically sold into slavery by her father in Iran. Death to America, those guys. And she'll tell you flat out, we even did a little snippet you might could find where she specifically talks about Ilhan Omar and this hijab and what it actually represents. Don't take my word for it, although you could, but go check it out. All right, back to the story. Pelosi demanded that Trump take, I can see her out there demanding Trump. Like he's like, what? There's a mosquito buzzing around here. Pelosi demanded that Trump take down the post, which had been pinned at the top of his Twitter feed since Friday. By mid-afternoon, I'm sure it's because of all the pressure from Pelosi, the message had been removed, although at least one other anti-Omar retweet remained on Trump's feed, and by then the 2-day-old video had been retweeted more than 86,000 times. So what exactly is an anti-Omar tweet? I mean, think about it. Anti-Omar.
It's something in response to this one.
Yeah, somebody did something. Somebody said something. I mean, she's anti-Semitic. Oh, it's just somebody saying something. You know, even though she's been using the words of Hamas basically to criticize Jewish Americans or people who support them. It's just somebody saying something. I mean, give me a break. Earlier, White House spokesman Sarah, and I call her the boss, Sanders, said in an ABC this week that Trump bears no ill will toward the Minnesota Democrat who has been subject to at least one recent death threat. Now, I don't want her to be killed. I'm not death threat. I know the president can't say that, but I bode ill will towards her. She makes me sick. And I wonder why anybody could support this gal after all she has done just in the short period of time she's been there. How could you support her? So I bear her ill will. I don't bear her ill health. I don't want nothing to happen to her, but ill will. I hope she gets defeated at the next chance they get. But death threat. So she's saying she's under a death threat. Now let me just let you know, every member of Congress, because I know a few of them, they all get death threats. And I'm not downplaying them. I'm making little of it. But this is just the times we live in. You know, what about Steve Scalise, man? He only got a death threat. The man got shot. You know, so, but that never comes out in the news much as all. But death threat, let me ask you, Ilhan, are you feel more threatened here in America wearing your hijab and saying somebody did something somewhere, or basically just as being as anti-Semitic as anyone ever elected to office? Is that more threatening to you than maybe walking down the street of the shithole you came from in Somalia? I mean, I said it. I mean, Ilhan Omar, how often do you go back to Somalia and just kind of casually walk around wearing some bling bling? You want to talk about a death threat? Getting off the plane there is not a threat. It's a reality of death, man. Pelosi said in her statement that following the president's tweet, oh God, he tweeted, I spoke with the sergeant at arms to ensure that Capitol Police are conducting a security assessment to safeguard Congressman Omar, her family, and her staff. Now, you could say that is reasonable, responsive nature of the speaker to do that. But I got a different translation. I translated, she say, I decided to make political hay out of it. And, you know, she just looked at the situation. Do you really believe that this woman, Ilhan Omar, is under more intensive threat now that she said that? I find it hard to believe. I could be wrong. I hope that nothing happens to her. I really don't want anything to happen. I want to make that clear. I wish her no ill will that way at all. But Pelosi, man, she's just trying to take a political advantage of this because, of course, she always wanted to be a unifier. When I was growing up as a child, I look at myself in the mirror, say, unified, unified. The Democratic Party, the last thing they want is unified. They don't. Because if you really knew the truth, if true, they'd all be gone. Friday's tweet wasn't the first attack by Trump on Omar. Wasn't the first. One of the first Muslim women elected to Congress, but it dialed up the temperature after the president a week ago mocked her. Now, she is a mockery, right? Apparently, Trump mocked her in a speech at Las Vegas to a Jewish Republican group. Now, if you're Jewish out there, let me ask, and you support the state of Israel, do you support this gal? Are you going to vote Democrat? Because if you're voting Democrat, you're voting to elevate this anti-Semitic, hate-filled terrorist gal that supports terrorist groups, by the way. That somebody did something. Well, I wish somebody would do something and actually vote this gal out. That's what needs to happen. But
we have a comment. Jussie says he was attacked too.
Yeah. I tell you what, man. Watch out for them Nigerian princes, buddy. You got to watch, especially if they're wearing whiteface on the coldest night in history. There you go. Ilhan Omar. Watch your back for Nigerians, man. Asked on Fox News Sunday whether Trump is worried he was inciting violence against Muslims or Omar, the Somali-American migrant, and her family to the U.S. as a teenager after living in Kenya. She went there first. Sanders said no. Instead, she blamed Democrats for refusing to call Omar for what she's termed anti-Semitic comments. But after all, and I'm only trying to help you, Omar. I'm willing to help. I'm willing to let bygones be bygones. Let you on my side of the wall like Trump's. You're already on it. But after all, she made a very compelling case that the true victims of 9/11 were members of the religion of peace. That's basically it, man. The religion of peace were the true victims of 9/11. They're second-class citizens, everything out there. Well, if you truly, let me just let you know, if you're out there, as I'm trying to help, if you're a member of CARE, Hamas, and, you know, all these other groups, if you're sympathetic to Ilhan Omar, if you're Rashid Tlaib, which I posted on our Facebook, go to John Martin Talks Facebook, like it and share it with others. I posted a video there of Rashid Tlaib defending Ilhan Omar, and of course Ocasio-Cortez did as well. But if you're feeling like a second-class citizen and you're looking for sanctuary, well, maybe you should go to some place named Stan. Because surely any country named Stan, like Pakistan, Uzbekistan, Afghanistan, all these countries named Stan would welcome you in peace and let you just be the freedom-loving woman, in this case, Ilhan Omar, that you've always wanted to be. Surely you would never be a second-class citizen in any place named Stan. The only thing I know about a country named Stan is you better get the hell out. If you get off a plane and it says welcome to whatever Stan, run, baby. Get out of there, man. Better call Captain Whitebread, but I ain't going there either. But anyway, she can find refuge. There's plenty of places to go. All right, we're going to move on to our next story. And this kind of involves the same thing. Pelosi, man, when she speaks, they write. I don't know if they listen, but they write, man. But my secondary little comment on this is your posse, and I said posse, needs sanctuary. But this is according to the New York Post. Pelosi rips AOC, Ocasio-Cortez, says her posse, now I'm just saying what her posse in Congress is like 5 people. It's just 5 people. We're only talking about 5 people. She wishes that if true, that was true. But Speaker of the House, Nancy Pelosi, sent just some more shade to Representative Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez. Now, some of you out there, gray-hairs like me, might not know what that meant. Like shade, like maybe they put an umbrella over, they feel bad. She's on that jackass, you know, and it's hot in the sun. let me just tell you, shade is slang for criticism. So you hear kids going, they putting shade on it. Now, they're talking about criticism. They might not know what criticism means, but they know what shade means. In a 60 Minutes interview, correspondent Leslie Stahl, boy, this 60 Minutes interview, you better watch it, man, pointed out the different groups within the House Democratic caucus to Nancy Pelosi. She said, you have these wings, AOC and her group on one side, Stahl said, and Pelosi interrupted her basically, that's like 5 people. That's like 5 people. If it's 5 people, it's basically like an oligarch of the Democratic Party because they're all on the Green New Deal and all 2020 people are on board, Nancy. I hate to let you know, but if it's only 5, that's one hell of a 5, man. It's like a cabal, man. It's like a, I guess what are they, it's the Politburo of the Democratic Party. But Stahl corrected the snarky remark, saying that the progressive group is more than 5. But it's more than 5. But think about it.
We are worse. We are worse.
But think about this, Jay. Maybe in fairness, maybe we're being unfair to Nancy because she could be the victim of Common Core math.
That's true. Or she could have forgot.
She could have. It could have slipped on that plastic face she's got. I think we got a picture that I posted on my Facebook page a while back that kind of shows almost better than I could say how Nancy probably feels about the 5. Oh, it's only 3 though. And she's like, oh man, if they would just I can say, are we there yet? Are we there yet? Are we there yet? Somebody did something, Mama Nancy. Green New Deal. This car, what is this car, man? When are we gonna ride the jackass? When are we gonna ride the jackass? Look at Nancy, man. That picture right there is a lot more true than you think, man, because I guarantee you Nancy feels something up her ass, and it ain't a gerbil. But well, she goes on to say, Pelosi says, well, I'm progressive. Yeah, Pelosi responded. I'm progressive too. He got, oh, I want to put that image in me, man. Man, she's about to drift out to sea. I don't want to see that floating in the sea of plastic when I'm out there. But to think about this, really, what it all amounts to is while Trump is winning, what are they doing? Whining. I'm a progressive too. Trump has really exposed the lunacy of the left, man. It is absolutely incredible. Thank you, President Trump. I appreciate that. On several occasions now, Pelosi has downplayed any splits within her ranks and also tried to dim some of Ocasio-Cortez's star power. She's trying to dim her. That's pretty going to be hard to dim this gal, man, because there's another picture I put up on my Facebook page over the weekend, and President Trump has a pretty good response to this. Have we got that one? Yeah. Can I ask a stupid question? Better than anyone I know, girl. I love President Trump, man. I got some serious man love for President Trump. But you have to watch your back, man. I got you, man. I ain't going to come up and Biden you or anything like that. In a recent interview with USA Today, now Melania, she may have something to worry about. In a recent interview with USA Today, the House Speaker pointed out that votes are more significant than Twitter followers. You're right. And a remark that is also interpreted to be a dig at AOC. Well, you may have recalled this if you've been with me for a while, but one of the things when I first found out that we only had 12 years to live or 10 years to live, whatever, I started putting on my bucket list certain things. And one of the things I put was I was willing to referee this cat fight that was brewing between I'm trying to think of it. Yeah. See, I got memory.
Tommy Loren
and Cardi B, baby. I was ready to be the official referee between them. Well, I don't know if I'm ready for this cat fight between AOC and Pelosi. That would be scary. I don't know if I want to put that on my bucket list, man, or not.
Especially with Pelosi in that bikini.
Yeah. But, we saw that about Ocasio-Cortez with her dancing video. She was pretty sexy, man.
For your viewing pleasure.
Yeah, there you go. I don't know, man. I'm going to let Ocasio win that one by default just so I can get rid of it. But anyway, it sounds like a cat fight is brewing, man. It's a cat fight. While there are people who have a large number of Twitter followers, back to the articles, what's important, Nancy says, is that we have a large number of votes on the floor of the House. Now, keep in mind, we reported this last week. Go back and check out our podcast. That they couldn't even agree on a budget. They couldn't agree on it. The only thing they can agree on at this point is that they want your money and a hell of a lot more of it. That's the only thing. Exactly how much they can't agree on. On 60 Minutes, Pelosi said her Democrats weren't fractured by those loud voices on the left. Loud voices on the left. So that's all they are, is loud voices, right? You know, they're melting. I mean, I think we've got a group of those loud voices right now, don't we? Playing up. Can you play that clip about the melting folks?
Look what you've done! I'm melting! Melting!
There's your loud voices on the left. I mean, you could play that clip across about anything that the Democrats are talking about, because they're melting, whether it be melting at the Supreme Court doors. Remember, they're clawing to try to get, you know, when Kavanaugh, who is your Supreme Court judge, by the way, or Trump, when they're the melting started when Hillary Clinton, and every time I mention this, I get on a rant, so be careful. When Hillary Clinton, you want to know what disqualifies her from ever being president, even of California really, was the fact that she would not even face her own melting, crying baby supporters on the night of the election. When Trump became your president, Hillary Clinton was apparently doped up, lying in the hotel room going, I'm melting, I'm melting. I mean, that right there disqualifies her from anything, period, in my opinion. She needs sanctuary.
She needed sanctuary.
But the people in that glass palace or whatever, they needed sanctuary. Instead, they got Podesta coming out there. I mean, that's the last thing you need. I guess at least he wasn't serving pizza, but that's another story. It might be a little deep for some folks. Okay, what these loud voices need? They need voices. Well, you know what we need? They got loud voices. You know what we need? We need the voices of things like Citizens for Trump, like Deplorable Resistance. Welcome to the show, guys. We need your voices, because trust me, the one thing that the Democratic Progressive Party doesn't lack is loud voices. And Nancy Pelosi is right about this. Absolutely. It is more important to have voters at the ballot box than twits on Twitter. She's absolutely right about that. So it's up to people like my listeners out here. That's one of the reasons why I keep doing what I'm doing, so that we can give them their worst nightmare, and they won't be able to find sanctuary even under the rock that Nancy Pelosi's been hiding on her when we re-elect that man right there, Donald J. Trump. When you wake up on 2020 in November, and I can come and do the show, Donald Trump is still your president. I can't wait to say that in earnest in about a year and a half now, right? Man, Lord willing, you want to have something to live for? I live for being able to say that. All right, next story. Let me check my time. We're doing pretty good. I got a story here, and it is truly about sanctuary. And so the question here is, to sanctuary or not to sanctuary? That is the question. From the Washington Post, Trump claimed Oakland's mayor doesn't want released immigrants. Her response, we welcome all. President Trump threw more fuel on the flames of the immigration debate Saturday night in a series of tweets that singled out Democrats and news outlets that had reported on his administration's plan to relocate migrants to so-called sanctuary cities. I like that. Fuel. So they talk about fuel on it. I got this picture of me, and I'm feeling real heroic today. Captain Whitebread, man, with the torch of truth, the fuel of truth. I'm flying through the air, and I'm dousing all these Democrats out there with truth. I'm throwing, I come to the fire, and I'm bringing the fuel of the truth. How you like that burn, baby?
The most dangerous man in America.
That's it. Captain Whitebread, baby. Can you imagine Captain Whitebread armed with the torch, fueled with the fuel of truth? Oh, my God, man. Hey, Marvel, I know Stan Lee's gone, but hey, check me out. I think I'm worthy of a superhero movie. Captain Whitebread, the fuel of truth. Trump specifically singled out the mayor of Oakland, Libby Schaaf, Democrat who criticized a proposed policy to relocate detained immigrants to sanctuary cities as an abuse of power and public relations. So it's abuse of power. It's more like calling your bluff, chick. Let me tell you, as one old poker player to another, it's more like he's calling your bluff, because you don't want these people in your city, no matter what you say, you know. But Mayor Shaft, is it Shaft or Shaft? I guess if you're living in Oakland, it's Shaft, baby, because that's what you're getting. But in 2018, she warned residents last year of an upcoming raid by U.S. Immigration and Customs Enforcement, in other words, ICE. I like how they use the term residents. She warned people, some of them were outright felony criminals, and some of them went on to commit other crimes. Go check it out. You can Google it, but remember, Google is of the devil. But yeah, she warned residents that law enforcement is coming. I mean, think about that. That's your mayor out there in Oakland, by the way. On Saturday night, she responded to Trump's attack. It's always an attack. Maybe was the truth always an attack? So if you bring that fuel of truth with the torch of truth, am I attacking you or just letting you burn? I don't know. Trump's attack with a clear message: Oakland welcomes all. Now that might be news to you out there in Oakland. Do you really? If you're out there in Oakland, do you really want all these migrants to these illegal aliens to come to Oakland? I don't know. But so put them on the love train. You know, I'm going to channel my inner Jeb Bush, man. When you bust up, when you break in our house, it's a mission of love. Remember when he said that about crossing the border? I wonder if some of these illegals were to kick down the door of Jeb Bush down in South Florida mansion he's at, or in Kennebunkport, Maine, he's visiting. I don't know if he got any reason to go up there anymore. Or he's on the Crawford Ranch with his brother down in Texas, and they jumped the fence there. Are they just coming to make love?
They're coming to applaud him.
Yeah, they're coming. That's it right
My
now.
applause has arrived.
Yeah, here's my fans. Here's my fans. And they come right in and go, hey, I'm Jeb Bush. What's your name? And they go, bend over. He's going to love that. If you watch my show any length of time, which you should, you will know what I'm talking about. And we'll probably play it again. But Trump tweeted, and of course when Trump tweeted, the world shook, man. Democrats must change the immigration laws fast. Yeah, they should, but I don't think so. Because if not, sanctuary cities must immediately act to take care of the illegal immigrants. So the president's trying to give them what they want. After all, they'll be richer for it. And see, one thing I got every now and then I have to clarify, because I know I got a growing Hispanic audience out there. I am very, I'd say muchas gracias. That's about all the Spanish I know that won't get me in trouble. I apologize, I don't know more. Maybe I should take that up. But the left, man, they're constantly talking about that somehow we need illegal immigrants that are going to make us richer. Now, maybe I'm wrong. But if you live in a predominantly Hispanic community and you're an American citizen, has a flood of illegal aliens made your country, your community richer or more dangerous? From what I hear, it's more dangerous, man. But so we had some guests. If you haven't checked out, I meant to mention this earlier. If you didn't see our Friday show, and I know some of it was removed in several places or got deleted, you can go back and look at John Martin Talks. My Facebook page directly. You can check out my John Martin Talks YouTube channel. We also have an excluded YouTube channel. You drop the E, put the big X up there, excluded YouTube channel. Check out my interview with two legal immigrants who have become U.S. citizens, done it the right way, actually become supporters of Trump. One from Italy, and Ricardo and Jill from the Philippines. It was a fantastic thing. And Ricardo, who spent a great deal of time in California, told me that there's actually some areas in California where legal immigrants and others who are citizens here, Hispanic people who have been here generational, there are places where they will not go now in their communities because of the flood of illegal immigrants and the crime it has brought. I'm just telling you what they said. So it doesn't sound like it always makes you richer. The exchange between, let me check my time, running short here. The exchange between the president and Oakland's mayor comes after another week of twists and turns, according to this article, and the Trump's quest to implement his immigration agenda. His immigration. It's our immigration agenda. We voted for President Trump. And here's the thing about President Trump. And I've said this before, but as I say, it bears repeating. Hang on while I say this. Don't just freak out. President Trump is the most radical president in my lifetime for sure. There is no question about it. President Trump is a dyed-in-the-wool, hardcore radical. And you know why I say that? because he enforces the existing laws, because he makes promises made and promises kept, but he enforces the existing laws. And of course, he committed the worst crime ever. He got elected. But think about this. Trump is considered a radical because he enforces the laws as they're written on the books. And that this paper has this, and I think this is the Washington Post, has the audacity to basically say his agenda. His agenda is to put America first and to enforce, in this case, the law of the land. That's all Donald Trump has done about the immigration policy of this country since the beginning of his presidency. He hasn't changed any laws at all. He'd like to change some. He said earlier in this tweet that he'd like Congress to act, the Democrats to act fast. But he hasn't changed any laws. He simply enforced the laws on the books. Many of them, if not most of them, passed by, guess what? Democrats.
Impeach 45. He's doing his job.
Yeah, get rid of that sons of gun. You know, you MAGA hat wearing sons of guns out there that got, unwittingly supported Donald Trump. I love that word, unwittingly.
I didn't unwittingly.
I mean, I supported him wittingly and fittingly.
God, I got to be the dumbest screw up there is.
Yeah. But the mayor out there in Oakland, Mayor, and I got a new nickname for her now. Mayor, you get the shaft. Said because if you're in Oakland, buddy, bend over, it's coming. It's a gerbil nation in California, and Oakland's apparently going to be the center of it. The idea that the administration thought in a way that it would be acceptable to use families and children, human beings, as political retribution against their enemies should infuriate every American regardless of political affiliation. That's straight from the mouth of Mayor Shaft. Political retribution. Sounds to me like President Trump is actually trying to give you what your heart desires. All you on the left have been saying all along that we just need more, political. Even on the left, and Jeb Bush believes he's on the left, it's an act of love. So if it's an act of love, maybe they just need to come and spread the love all throughout Oakland, and we'll see what happens, right? But in Chicago, it's coming to you. The love is coming. In New York City, the love is already there, and you're going to get more of it. In Philadelphia, the city of brotherly love, get ready, because it's coming. Get ready, because here I come. Brotherly love. Yeah, Pelosi talking about the divine inspiration of MS-13 is coming. It's already in a lot of places right now, but it's coming. It's coming to a city near you. And I tell you, if you're a God-fearing, a patriotic, American-loving sons of gun, you fear this more than anything. Because if we let all these people undocumented come in and just flood the country, and this is where I think the president's right, they need to go to these places, but ultimately they're going to spread across the nation, and you could talk about it. It's got nothing to do with racism. It's just fact, man. We may be better off. Maybe the left is right. We may be better off. I don't think so, but I'm willing to say it's a possibility. But one thing I know for a fact, if we let all 180 million people in Central and South America that say they want to come here for asylum actually come here, one thing I know for sure we won't be is a constitutional republic ruled by the laws of the Constitution. We will no longer be America. That's for sure. It just won't happen. And it has nothing to do with the color of the skin. It's just a fact, a reality, man. Let me put it this way. If we let all these white socialists from Europe come over here, we won't be America either. I don't care what color they are. If they're not based on the Constitution of the Republic of the United States of America, we don't need nor want you. What the people we need and want are the people like the two guests I had on Friday. As I say, check out that show. And they were compared to old Captain Whitebread. Of course, I'm a person of color. I'm redder than they are. But let's see how much
That
time
was a great interview, by the way.
You need to check it out. I guess we're about out of time. But hey, if you want a sanctuary from all the nonsense out there, if you want to get the hardwood, unvarnished truth, you need to keep tuning into JMT. I appreciate you. I hope you've enjoyed the show as much as I've enjoyed giving it to you, so to speak, a daily basis. But what I really need you to do, because this is kind of the currency I work on, is go directly to my page, John Martin Talks, like it, and share it if you haven't done it already. And if you had, I greatly appreciate it. Keep doing it. But above all else, ladies and gentlemen, Go ahead.
Thank
Yeah.
you, Citizens for Trump and the Deplorable Resistance. We love being hosted on your page, by the way.
Absolutely. And that brings up another thing. If you have a page out there that you would like to host a John Martin talk show on, just contact us directly and we'd be happy to explore those opportunities. But thank you again. But above all else, like I say every day, have a blessed day.